Law 26. Keep your hands clean. You must seem a paragon of civility and efficiency. Your hands are never soiled by mistakes and nasty deeds. Maintain such a spotless appearance by using others as scapegoats and cat's paws to disguise your involvement. Our good name and reputation depend more on what we conceal than on what we reveal. Everyone makes mistakes, but those who are truly clever manage to hide them and to make sure someone else is blamed. A convenient scapegoat should always be kept around for such moments. If you understand the workings of power and the importance of appearances, shop around for the most convenient head and have it served up immediately. In Renaissance Italy, Cesare managed to occupy Romagna in northern Italy. The region had for years been ruled by a series of greedy masters who had plundered its wealth for themselves. Without police or any disciplining force, it had descended into lawlessness, with whole areas being ruled by robbers and feuding families. So, wishing to bring back peace and obedience to authority, he promoted Ramiro de Lorca, an efficient and cruel man, to whom he gave the fullest power. This man, in a short time, restored peace and unity with great success. There was order, but the people were angry. Many of the citizens were treated badly, and many were executed. Cesare had no doubt that the past severity had caused some hatred against him, so to clear himself in the minds of the people and make them entirely loyal to him, he desired to show that, if any cruelty had been practiced, it had not originated from him, but came from the personal cruelty of the governor. Under this pretense, Cesare took Ramiro and one morning had him killed and left in the square at Cesena, his body split in two and his head stuck in a pike. This terrible sight satisfied the people, while simultaneously making them fearful of Cesare. People of power are undone not by the mistakes they make, but by the way they deal with them. The mistake does not vanish with an apology, it deepens and festers. Better to cut it off instantly, distract attention from yourself, and focus attention on a convenient scapegoat. Do not give people time to ponder your responsibility or your possible incompetence. The use of scapegoats is as old as civilization itself, and examples of it can be found in cultures around the world. The main idea behind these sacrifices is the shifting of guilt and sin to an outside figure, object, animal, or man, which is then banished or destroyed. The Hebrews used to take a live goat, hence the term scapegoat, upon whose head the priest would lay both hands, while confessing the sins of the children of Israel. Having thus had those sins transferred to it, the goat would then be led away and abandoned in the wilderness. With the Athenians and Aztecs, the scapegoat was human, often a person fed and raised for the purpose. Since famine and plague were thought to be visited on humans by the gods in punishment for wrongdoing, they freed themselves of guilt by transferring it to an innocent person whose death was intended to satisfy the divine powers and banish the evil from their midst. The bloody sacrifice of the scapegoat seems a barbaric relic of the past, but the practice lives on to this day, if indirectly and symbolically, since power depends on appearances, and those in power must seem to never make mistakes. The use of scapegoats is as popular as ever. Besides conveniently shifting blame, a scapegoat can serve as a warning to others. In fact, it is often wise to choose the most innocent victim possible as a sacrificial goat. Such people will not be powerful enough to fight you, and their naive protests may be seen as a sign of their guilt. Be careful, however, not to create a martyr. It is important that you remain the victim, the poor leader betrayed by the incompetence of those around you. History has time and time again shown the value of using a close associate as a scapegoat. In ancient times, this was known as the fall of the favorite. Most kings had a personal favorite at court, a man whom they singled out, sometimes for no apparent reason, and lavished him with favors and attention. But this court favorite would serve as a convenient scapegoat in case of a threat to the king's reputation. The public would readily believe in the scapegoat's guilt. Why would the king sacrifice his own favorite unless he were guilty? And the other courtiers, resentful of the favorite anyway, would rejoice at his downfall. The king, meanwhile, would rid himself of a man who by that time had probably learned too much about him, perhaps becoming arrogant and even disdainful of him. Choosing a close associate as a scapegoat has the same value as the fall of the favorite. You may lose a friend or ally, but in the long term it is more important to hide your mistakes than to hold on to someone who one day will probably turn against you. Besides, you can always find a new favorite to take his place. The second way, make use of the cat's paw. In the fable, the monkey grabs the paw of his friend, the cat, and uses it to fish chestnuts out of the fire, thus getting the nuts he craves without hurting himself. If there is something unpleasant or unpopular that needs to be done, it is far too risky for you to do the work yourself. You need a cat's paw, someone who does the dirty and dangerous work for you. The cat's paw grabs what you need, hurts whom you need hurt, and keeps people from noticing that you are the one responsible. Let someone else be the executioner or the bearer of bad news, while you bring only joy and glad tidings. Who are the cat's paw? There will always be people who will do your dirty tasks to keep you on the throne. This will usually be a person from outside your immediate circle, who will therefore be unlikely to realize how he or she is being used. You will find these people everywhere, people who enjoy doing you favors, especially if you throw them a small bone or two in exchange. But as they accomplish the tasks that may seem to them innocent enough, or at least completely justified, they are actually clearing the field for you, spreading the information you feed them, undermining people they do not realize are your rivals, inadvertently furthering your cause, dirtying their hands while yours remain spotless. Two uses of the cat's paw. The first one, to save appearances, and the second one, to save energy and effort. Always search out the overly aggressive as potential cat's paws. They are often more willing to get into a fight, and you can choose just the right fight for your purposes. As a leader, you may imagine that constant diligence and the appearance of working harder than anyone else signifies power. Actually though, they have the opposite effect. They imply weakness. Why are you working so hard? Perhaps you are incompetent and have to put in the extra effort just to keep up. Perhaps you are one of those people who does not know how to delegate and has to meddle in everything. The truly powerful, on the other hand, seem to never be in a hurry or overburdened. While others work their fingers to the bone, they take their leisure. They know how to find the right people to put in the effort, while they save their energy and keep their hands out of the fire. You may believe that by taking on the dirty work yourself, involving yourself directly in unpleasant actions, you impose your power and instill fear. In fact, you make yourself look ugly and abusive of your high position. Truly powerful people keep their hands clean. Only good things surround them, and the only announcements they make are of glorious achievements. The cat's paw, it has long claws to grab things. It is soft and padded. Take hold of the cat and use its paws to pluck things out of the fire, to claw your enemies, to play with the mouse before devouring it. Sometimes you hurt the cat, but most often it doesn't feel a thing. Do everything pleasant yourself, everything unpleasant through third parties. By adopting the first course, you win favor. By taking the second, you deflect ill will. Important affairs often require rewards and punishments. Let only the good come from you, and the evil from others. Warning: the cat's paw and the scapegoat must be used with extreme caution and delicacy. They are like screens that hide your own involvement in dirty work from the public. If at any moment the screen is lifted, and you are seen as the manipulator, the puppet master, the whole dynamic turns around. Your hand will be seen everywhere, and you will be blamed for misfortunes you may have had nothing to do with. Once the truth is revealed, events will snowball beyond your control. Balthazar Gracian. Folly consists not in committing folly, but in being incapable of concealing it. All men make mistakes, but the wise conceal the blunders they have made. Reputation depends more on what is hidden than on what is seen. If you can't be good, be careful.